Hi, everybody. So we are now live. We're doing an interview of author J.B. Taylor, and we're going to pick his brain for a little while. So I'll let him take it away and introduce himself. J.B.
Alrighty. I am J.B. Taylor, author of Magica and John Archer, a comedy. Discovery is science fiction. Magica is fantasy. Is a comedy. So clearly, I love all genres. And I have a YouTube page called Taylor Talks. It's as scattered as my brain is. There's book reviews, movie reviews, random ranting. That's about it.
All right. Okay. What was your favorite book to write so far?
I would have to say John Archer, not because it's my most recent one and I'm trying to push it, but because with that one I was able to just goof off. It's so flippant and silly, and it's just weird. And no part of it was aggravating, not even the editing. It was just fun. It's very just it was a hoot. That's I aimed at it. That there shouldn't have been any opening for a sequel, but I loved it so much that I had to write another one. So, Archer, definitely.
I enjoyed reading that one. It was fun. It was a lot of fun to read. It was goofy, and I really liked it. It was fun. One of the questions I have is, do you usually stick to one genre or do you branch out? But you've already stated that you like to branch out and do different genres. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you go to do different ones instead of sticking to just the same one?
Really, taste really just depicts what I like overall. I have one set genre that I like to watch or to read or to listen to. If it looks, if it's a book or something, if the cover looks good and the synopsis is good, even if it's like a romance, I'll give it a shot. I don't really care. And it's the same thing with a show or a movie. I'll give it a shot, and that attitude really led to me liking just a wide variety of different things. And so when I started to write, I found that I really didn't have one that I had an idea for. I had science fiction ideas, I had fantasy ideas, and so I just went with it. But I will say that in the last year or so, my shifting more towards fantasy. I have one sci-fi idea that I want to get out of me. It's a pain in the butt. It's taking forever too. Once that's out, I probably will focus on one genre for a while because I really want to write a fantasy novel, like witches and wizards and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I could see you writing some witches and wizards and getting really in depth with that world. I mean, that's always fun to do. That's something fun to look forward to. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What do you like the most?
It's my favorite genre to read, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I like everything with maybe not necessarily magical, but sort of a fantasy element to it. I like a lot of books, even if it's a romance or a horror, but I like a little bit of the fantastical in there too because they're fun. They're always fun.
Yeah.
What do you love most about the writing process itself? What is the most fun thing for you in that?
Uh, to say I'm a pantser, so I don't plot or anything. So um, the journey that's I mean it sounds like a generic answer, but really when you don't know where you're going to go with an idea, you're really interested to see what you come up with. And, I have some pretty quirky ideas, so yeah, it's just seeing what I can come up with. And when I do have an idea that like, oh, I would like to see this in a story, I'm really like outline because I'm really bad at like getting to that point, getting to that moment. I always wind up taking it in a different direction from where I wanted to go. Yeah, just trying to get there, the journey, it's so much fun because the great thing about writing is, especially when you're a pantser, you really truly don't know where it's going to go. So it's just so much fun. I mean, you can have, and then the next thing you know, you're writing a dragon or a vampire or a space alien. You know, it's always cool.
Yeah, and that's also true even if you do plan. Like I'm sometimes a pantser. I'm kind of both.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll do an outline and I'll have it planned, but the story might end up going in a completely different direction. Which I mean, for some people might be frustrating because they had this all planned, but for me, it's kind of fun. I'm kind of letting it write itself. You know, it's going the direction that it needs to go. And that is fun. That is fun because it's kind of like, oh, I'm along for the ride on this one. You know, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, the plans can go right out the window.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty fun. I mean, I enjoy that too.
Yeah.
Is there anything about the writing process that you?
Yeah. That's.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna agree with what you said. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I was just gonna ask. Is there anything about the writing process that you don't like, that you hate, or you just kind of dread? And that's just the writing process, not publishing or the marketing or anything, but just the process itself.
Um, any sort of emotional scene. I'm I'm kind of a sappy person. I'm a bit of a teddy bear, but when it comes like to writing like a sappy scene or like emotional dialogue or I they're necessary sometimes, but when it comes to that point, I'm socially awkward. I don't know how to write that. I don't know. So yeah, I when I realized that that's where my idea is going, that's where the story is going. I dread actually getting to that point because enough. But when we have to invoke emotion into more than two characters, it's really tough. So yeah, I would have to say dialogue alone, but definitely emotional dialogue and emotional scenes. It's having to speak for more than one person when you're used to speaking for yourself is pretty difficult, and it can be not so much fun sometimes.
I get that. It can be, especially one thing about dialogue and emotions is you're trying to have different voices for each character also. So if you do have one character who might be kind of like you and that isn't very outspoken, isn't, but then you have another character who's their opposite, you might kind of flounder a little bit with trying to make them more unique, a little different, and try to get all that emotion in there. So yeah, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Can you give us examples of where or when you might get inspiration for your stories? Like somewhere that you might go, or a certain circumstance where you got an inspiration for a certain story, or if there's something that you do on the regular that might help you get inspiration for a good story.
I maybe this is unusual, but I don't get, just like being out and about, I don't usually get inspiration for a story, and I maybe subconsciously I take in something and it's worked, and then an idea pops out. But more often than not with me, an idea just pops into my head. What I do get often is inspiration for characters. Like I will be at a store and someone in line in front of me, and they'll just say something really stupid that just makes your brain just halt. And yeah, I remember those people, and I put them into a book. Sometimes you don't have to work for your unique character. They're with you at Walmart, So I I can't really honestly say that I've gotten the inspiration from seeing something, because I mean I write kind of out there stuff. If I'm getting inspiration for an idea from something I've seen, we've been attacked by aliens at some point. I don't think that's happened yet. But yeah, definitely people. There are some unique people that I come across when I go out and about. I mean, and I'm always locking them in there into the old brain.
That's funny because I'm kind of the opposite. I'll always have the idea inspired by something I see or do, but then the character is sometimes a little harder coming. So it's different for everybody. Everybody has their different process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there a defining moment in your life where you realized that you were a writer? This is it. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. When I first started out, I did not pay attention in English class. I didn't at all think I was going to be a writer, so I had to teach myself. I didn't know indentions. I didn't know hymns. I didn't know paragraphs. I mean, I backed off so like flawlessly at English class. I just blew it off. Um, and so like to write, I mean, I gave my first story to my brother to read, and he said once I figured out who was talking and when, it was all right, which is something you don't want to hear.
No.
That means you didn't break anything up. That means it was just a cluster bomb. But it was um, a story called Chaos, that I'm actually, I've been. That's not a self promotion. That is a book I've been trying to write for 15 years, I'm literally editing it now. Yeah, I've put it up, taken it down, put it up, taken it down, and it's actually this draft. That's why I showed the book draft. It was terrible, absolutely terrible, and I put it up on Amazon thinking there's do that it's good when it's not, um, and it just got lit up like bad, which is totally understandable because it was crap. But there was one guy, I checked with relatives. I wasn't a relative. Left a review saying it was hard to get through, but there's a lot of promise here. Some nice dialogue, and it was a 2-star review, but it was very constructive and it was very positive. And I knew that if he could look at that hunk of crap and see like the good in it, then this is what I should be doing because I'm only going to get better. And I'm only going to, learn more. And when I saw that, that's actually what, that's exactly what I needed to hear. That gave me the confidence to pursue writing full time. I bought a computer and writing software based on that random. And I think I've gotten a whole lot better. I've at least learned to break up my books. So yeah.
No, I mean, it can suck when you get a bad review, but if it's constructive like that and it really tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear, that's always a good thing, even if it is 2 stars, because it half inspires you and half says this is what I need to do to be better. It's like a kick in the butt, but also picking you up off the floor. It's going to push you where you need to go.
That's why that's why I love the review so much. I saved it. I saved it to my computer and I look at it from time to time because he took the time after reading what was a terrible story. His review was long. It was very long and very detailed. So clearly he put a lot of thought into it and a lot of effort. He didn't have to do that, and that was super.
That's nice.
That was just awesome. It was a definite pickup, and that's why I started leaving reviews on Amazon for indie authors. That's why I started reviewing stuff on blogs and Taylor Talks, because it just takes that one person to say, it wasn't great, but there's a lot of potential here to, and this and this is why. That's, if I can help someone like that, dude, help me. It's totally worth it.
Oh yeah. That it's always good to get. Any kind of review is nice, but a helpful, constructive one like that is great. Do you read more indie books by independent authors or trade books, or do you have kind of an even mix of both? Which do you read more of?
Up to this point, more trade, but here in the last couple months, I've been picking up a lot of indie authors. C.L. Snyder. I'm listening to her audiobook now. A Crown of Stones. Um, that's not the full title. Yeah, I'm very, very picky and very, very. I'm spoiled. The first book I ever read was, you know, Where the Red Fern Grows, and then it was, like J.K. Rowling and Stieg Larsson and just others. So I'm completely spoiled. But that's the thing about indies is that there are a ton of good authors out there, and I've been discovering them recently. And so the more groups I join and the more adverts I see for indie books, I've been picking them up a lot more. So that for now it's trade, but this see that shifting to probably about even because I have my favorite authors and their books are coming out this year, so it's definitely moving towards the middle ground there. But I personally think that it doesn't really matter if a book is good, it's good, and that's what I want people to know. Don't focus too much on trade, too much on indie. Focus on the synopsis. Does it look good? Download a sample if it does, and if that connects with you, then buy the book. Even if you are picky like me, buy the book. Yeah.
I hear you. Do you have like a favorite trade author that you just like your go-to author? Like anything they write, you're gonna jump on that like immediately.
Um, and J.K. Rowling. Those are my two. Joe Hill is another one that I will perk up when I hear that he has a book, but to the point where I will immediately grab at it because I I have done that and I have been burned. So I'm a little more tentative with him, but definitely King and definitely Rowling. Um, both of whom have books coming out this year, and I can um, definitely those two.
So you're still new to the indie scene as far as reading, but do you have a favorite indie author so far? Like, if you've only read 10 indie books, which was your favorite as far as the writing style and the characters and everything? Which author do you think that you would become a real follower of? Like, who was your favorite so far?
Um, Definitely Michael J. Elliott. He writes horror. Like if you're like a big fan of horror and you want to support the indie genre, go for anything he writes. He hasn't missed um, at all. He's just good at what he does. Yeah, I'm still pretty new to the indie scene, but has been just dynamic. I mean, Christy Stratus' Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. Um, that'll freak you out. It'll give you chills. It's really very good. I actually got it again. She sent me a PDF copy of the first one for a review, and it took forever. You know me, I'm a slow reader, so it took me ages uh, to read it. But it's a great book. I liked it so much that when Lock and Key came out, I got both books. And sooner or later, I will get the paperbacks because those are just freaking awesome. Definitely Christy Stratus. If you like Dark Victoriana, that she's just. I mean, you feel like you're there, like you're in the book, you're in the scene. I love stories like that, and for an indie author to be able to pull that off when it's hard, period.
It's hard
So
to do.
definitely her. Check her stuff out. Joe Compton writes a. It's very hard. I've there's been like trade publishers that just they've tried and they just don't come close. The last person of all the books I've read and listened to, trade wise, that's been able to do it, is Stieg Larsson. Those Millennium Trilogy, those Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books. That's the last book where I felt like I was like right there in the moment. It's tough to do. If you like detective stories, Joe Compton, Amongst the Killing, that was really good. I actually liked it so much that I went and got the audiobook. So and I'm listening to it. And I only just started that C.L. Snyder book, Crown of Stones. I'm terrible with titles, so if I'm messing it up, forgive me. But yeah, as it's going right now, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be a massive fan of hers by the time I'm done with that book. It is freaking awesome. Yeah, those are just off the top of my head. Ani Sharjinko, J.D. Estrada, they're really good. I've only dipped in a little bit to JD's because I have to take my time with poetry because for some reason it's like algebra with me. It's just hard to digest. But I'm about halfway through, um, yeah, through Bright Needles, and or maybe it's Weightless One. I have all her stuff titles, but it's really good. She has Bright Needles, um, Heartbreak or something like that. I'm again bad with titles, but she's really freaking good. Um, yeah, because they are emotionally hard hitting. So when emotion makes you anxious, you might want to dip into it a little bit. But yeah, those are just off the top of my head. I could pick just one because I can't because they're all really good. And I'm not just saying that because I know them. I've actually read them. They're just I can't believe that they aren't. Maybe they have had offers. That's what I'm trying to authors speak to go traditionally, and I've turned it down. I don't know, but usually like when someone's like really good, like Andy Weir, he was an indie publisher or an indie author, and his The Martian got attention, and they plucked him out of the indie field. How it hasn't happened to Christy Stratus or Joe Compton or Michael J. Elliott, I have no idea because those books. I don't know if you've read any of their stuff, but if I wish I had a third of their talent. They are remarkable.
I have their stuff on my Kindle. It's in there with the millions of other books I have to read. I am going to get to them. Like I definitely hear so many good things about, especially the Crown of Stones series because that's a trilogy, isn't it? I think there's three of those.
Yeah.
And I hear so many good things, and definitely Chris's Lock and Key. Yeah, I hear a lot of good things from a lot of different people, and I gotta get cracking on those. I have them though. I'm ready. I'm gonna get in there eventually. This is my year to really try to get all the Kindle books read without buying more. Can I do it? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I know how you feel. I had Christy Stratus's Anatomy of a Darkened Heart it was literally on my computer for a year. She gave it to me in good faith. It was like, please read my new book, review it, and I was like, hell yeah, free book, Dark Victoriana, I'm all over that. A year later, and I'm like throwing files in the trash, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about this book. And I read it, and it took no time at all for me to read it. And again, I'm a slow reader, and when I read a book fast, it's good. That sucker, and I put up a review. I'm pretty sure in the review I called her a rock star. Yeah, well earned. I mean, she's awesome. Yeah, I totally know how you feel. I try not to look at my Kindle library. It's just it's sad. There's so many books on there.
Yeah, I have books, paperbacks that I bought for myself like 2 Christmases ago, indie books that are still on my shelf that I really want to get to this year. I'm hoping this is the year where I just knock a lot of it out, especially the indie books from like people I know. So, um,
Yeah.
okay, I have a question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years as far as your writing? Like, do you have a writing goal? Like, do you want to have so many more published? Do you want to have so many more, at least rough drafts? Do you want to try to find an agent? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now with your writing career?
I'm perfectly comfortable being an indie. I don't really have um, desire to get an agent or do anything on the because I like my setup. I have no restrictions in terms of we can have this character in there. This really isn't this group, so maybe not have this in there. I don't have any of that. And I have a dude that I go to for covers. It, you know, $20, and I have a beautiful cover made, and it could be any kind of cover I want. He'll do anything. And yeah, so I don't have any plans on breaking that sweet deal up. Uh, Basically, what I want is to be a better writer. That sounds like a cliche answer, but that I just to get a full length novel out and to be better at writing. I strive to learn every day because, like I said earlier, I'm fully self-taught, so I'm learning tons every day, and hopefully getting better and better. So basically, I wouldn't mind having better sales. And a steady go of it would be ideal for me. Have a little niche group that flocks to my new releases and nice little steady flow of income would be great.
You want to get yourself a fan base.
Too fancy. And maybe a new computer because yeah, definitely. Nice little fan base would be perfect.
Oh yeah, that's a good goal. I mean, that to get yourself a handful, anywhere from 10 to 50 people who are constant readers of your work. That's a great goal. That's a perfect goal. Even if your magic number in your head is just 10 people. I mean, that's something that you can work towards as a writer, and that will help you. That will help push you to help with your writing, with your promotions or marketing, or whatever. It'll help push you to do better, and that's a good goal to have.
Yeah. With the genre that I write in, if like things that I've noticed, if I get like 5 sales in a week, my overall Kindle ranking, you know how they give those little stats, so you're 20th in this, you're 20th in that sales, and they're right up there like in the 50s and 60s and like in the high thousands, which is if I can get a steady rhythm, I can be in the top 20, top 30, even like even like 1,000th would be perfect for a steady flow. So yeah, that's absolutely what I'm hoping for. Because with the niche little market that I write in, it won't take a ton, but it will still take a constant little influx of readers. So yeah, that's my long-term goal.
Yeah, and that's a good goal. That's a good goal to have. Um, do you have any advice for other independent authors, other indies, especially those that are just starting out in the business or in any area of it? What advice would you have for people that are just starting out, or people that have been here a while even? What advice would you give?
Well, for people just starting out, I would say take your time. 'Cause that's the biggest difference. Quality, not quantity, is huge. Yeah, just take your time,
Definitely.
make sure it's right. That's the great thing about being an indie. You don't have to set yourself a deadline. You could just go for it. And when you think it's ready and it's the best you could possibly make it, you've had other eyes on it other than your own. You've taken feedback and put it up. People who've been at it a while, I don't really know what to say other than keep doing what you're doing. And if you're not finding success, then you should probably, you know, cut it back a little bit, take a little bit more time, and focus a little more on your story. And I'm just speaking from like what I did, what I know. That that's what I learned. I wasn't having a ton of success back, a ton, and I focused just on one story at a time, and it got four positive reviews right away. So it seems to be working. Um, you know, do what I did, I guess, and if not, then I don't know, find your own path. I don't know. It took me a while to figure out, you know, to do what I'm doing now. So it's really hard to give advice.
Take your time is good advice because, I mean, this is an age of hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, faster. We want it all faster. We want to do it faster. We want to see it faster. So taking your time is good advice because you do want to put out your very best product, and I mean that reflects on you. So that's good advice. I mean, that's advice people need to take.
Yeah.
It's oh yeah.
It's advice. I would strongly recommend taking your time. That I can't emphasize it enough, because if you still digging out of the hole I made for myself with stories that weren't very well written, you really have to. I mean, people see that, they take the time to get it, and then it's not good, and they leave a review. That leaves a bad taste in their mouth, so to speak. I have to build back that trust, which I think I've done. But I put out Discovery, which wasn't too bad, and I put out John Archer, which was even better. It don't rush it, because you're just it's almost, even if you're being genuine about it, like I was, I thought they were good, or I wouldn't have put them out. But it's almost like lying to someone. You lie and they catch you in a hole, and each lie is a bigger hole. Um, each crappy book you put out, the hole's a little bit bigger, and you have to dig out of that. And I'm learning that. It can be done. I mean, I put out, like I said, Discovery. It got a positive and constructive review, and then I put out John Archer, and it got 4 really quick reviews. So I've definitely earned that back, but it took a long time. So yeah, definitely take your time and make sure your story is the best you can possibly make it. And if you can't afford an editor, take extra time. Let it sit for 6 months, and then go back to it with fresh eyes and hit it again. And then if it's good, put it back, or not put it back, put it up. So yeah, definitely take as much time as you can.
All right. That's all the questions I really have for you. Before we sign off, would you like to talk about your YouTube channel, Taylor Talks? Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that before we go?
It was originally supposed to be like a review page, and I do a ton of audiobook reviews, book reviews, movie reviews. But basically, it's just a place where I go to let off some steam, and I do that through like fun tag games, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, I was on YouTube and for some reason they kept recommending I watch Taylor Swift answer those Vogue questions, like Vogue questions. I don't want to watch this. I'll answer them. I'll answer the Vogue questions. So it's just silly stuff like that. There's 73 Vogue questions, which halfway through I realize are for women, but I stick with it, and it gets kind of awkward. It's just silly stuff like that, and I will occasionally drop a serious book review or a serious movie review, but usually I'm just being weird or quirky.
Well, I enjoy watching your videos, so I guess I'm weird and quirky too, because I find them fun and entertaining. So there you go. It's good for you.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be like weird or quirky, but it has because I'm a little off. But yeah, boy, you have to watch that Vogue. There's a question like, what kind of makeup do you prefer? And I'm like, for women. And, so yeah. But yeah, don't have to be weird or quirky, but it certainly helps. And if you like just random, because I do a lot of random question tags, and it's just fun. So yeah, definitely tune in if you like that. Although I am gonna start doing some more indie author, and I think I'm going to do some documentary reviews because those tend to be my most well received. Yeah, my the last two I think got a total of like 400 views. I know one of them got 359 views, and I about crap my pants. I reviewed this documentary, Ordinary or something like that. I'll have to link it to you later. It's just yeah. Oh man, it was terrible, and I ripped into it. And one person. This is kind of fun that you'll find on my page. One person, a conspiracy, and I was trying to cover up alien visitation, and I replied by saying I live in the boonies with my dogs. Not trying to cover anything up. So.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, thank you for coming on my channel so I could interview you tonight. I appreciate you coming by. You're my very first author interview. Yay! I hope you had a good time. Is there anything else you would like to talk about before we go?
No, thank you for having me. This was a ton of fun. I enjoyed being on your channel. You're being your first interview guest. That's it's always nice. I will John Archer available on audio now. So if you want to buy that, you can. That's about it.
All right. I have links below where you can find J.B. Taylor on Amazon, his Amazon author page, Taylor Talks, his YouTube channel, Twitter, his Twitter account, and his Facebook page. So check out the links below if you want to read more about him and his books and what he has available. I definitely recommend John Archer. It's a good one. It's fun. And thanks for stopping by. And see you next time.